What's good? What's good? What's good in the hood? And welcome back to another episode of the Good in the Hood podcast. Joined this week by another special guest, man. The homie Audra, known as Pinky. If you saw the Cast Wonder interview, episode 45, I mentioned the name Pinky a bunch about the link, and this is the person right here. This is the amazing Pinky. You know what I'm saying, the leading lady of BKC, Blank Canvas Creators Network. Come on, you know. You know what I'm saying? You holding it down
What
right
up?
now.
What
Like,
up? What up? I'm
yeah,
trying. Yeah. And
appreciate
if
you.
we
Saying
can, let's
you
get
and the
some more
great
women in the group.
you and the great Miss T with the two queens of BKC. Rest in peace, Tierra. And
Rest in peace.
it's been amazing this past year just seeing you evolve as a creator more so. I remember you first became in BKC. You was like, I'm just a fan, just an observer. But you stayed.
hmm
You always said that. I'm loving to see how you branched out into the forefront and wanting to get your voice heard, your face seen, and your opinions truly digested. I want to kind of get your thoughts to introduce you. Like to introduce you, I want to kind of get your thoughts on like your evolution this year.
Well, I mean, I feel like a lot of people have kind of taken toward the creative route and entrepreneurial route during the pandemic. But
Mm-hmm.
one particular thing that sparked my my creative endeavors, number one, is all the bullshit that's been going on. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Um, so that sparked the movement for social justice in my hometown, Ashland, Kentucky. And once I started doing that, I realized that people do like to hear my voice and they look to me for leadership. And I thought, if I can be a leader in the community, why can't I be a leader in the creative world? So that's when I started brainstorming with my cousin Carly, and that's how What a Crime to Be Alive came about. I'd had probably 2 or 3 failed attempts at podcasting before this, and working with BKC, and then just having so much time to myself at the crib, I realized I couldn't. Tomorrow isn't promised. I can't waste any more time. I just got to do it, and that's pretty much how the evolution started. And now I've always been like an opinionated person, but I kind of kept it to myself. And now it's like, can't really bite my tongue.
And how comfortable are you now at this point in this new mindset you have?
I'm pretty confident. There's some things I realize that I need to work on, and some things that I need to improve with. But that's the main thing. I realize that I need to strive for improvement rather than perfection. So now that I realize that I'm constantly improving and that others around me are striving for improvement too and not perfection. And I see the behind the scenes stuff of like your show, Matt's show, other people's show. It's like, okay, we're kind of all on the same plane here. We're kind of all trying to figure it out step by step. So I realized like I don't have to have a perfect show. I don't have to edit out. We talked about it before, every and that.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm pretty comfortable and confident.
And you mentioned you're working in Ashland with, like, of course, Breonna Taylor incident happening in Kentucky. Um,
Uh-huh.
with Ashland for Change, what's going on with it now? How is the atmosphere in Kentucky now post well, I guess post Breonna Taylor trial? There was no conviction, but you know.
Yeah, I try to be optimistic, but I'm
Mhm.
also a realist. And I live in Lexington, Kentucky, but I've been back in Ashland for the most part since March to help out with my family. A lot of them are at risk for the virus and stuff.
Mm.
So when I came back here, it was kind of a reminder of what I left. I left a community that isn't that diverse. I left a community that isn't that open-minded, and I don't want to bash where I'm from because it's what made me me. But
Right.
you have, I'd say, half of your people that, the light bulb went off. I can't believe it took this long for people to realize that there's police brutality, that there's systemic racism. I can't believe that. But I'm glad that this half of people is willing to listen at least now. But you got your other half where it kind of reinforced their hate to see all these young people of color take a stand and speak out for themselves.
Absolutely.
So the atmosphere is promising, it's encouraging, But I think we all know this, the change isn't going to happen overnight. And I think we need to focus less on those people who are determined to misunderstand and focus more on those who are at least willing
Absolutely.
to have an
Absolutely.
open ear and an open heart and open conscience. So
Because
I wouldn't say that much has changed. Go ahead.
because like it's with those people who are just stubborn in their ways. I feel like if we stay focused on the right ones over time,
Mm-hmm.
the people who are stubborn will be the minority of it all,
Right.
and the thoughts
I
won't
feel
even
the
matter.
same way.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, absolutely. So how is it balancing, of course, the social injustices and this crazy pandemic that we're in 2020? How was that? How has that been in Kentucky?
It it's been tough for us personally at Ashland for Change just because we can't do a lot. You know, there's restrictions, social distancing, masks. We don't want to put anybody at risk. So we've tried some things virtually. We had a book club going. We were reading The Color of
Mm-hmm.
Law. Um, there were a few other books, and we kind of had to pause it because yeah, there's people interested, but it's hard to keep everybody on the same page during COVID when everything's on Zoom.
Yeah.
But we're trying to stay active in the community right now. It's mostly just trying to provide resources for those who do want to learn more, for those who do want to take action. It's on pause, but we're trying to get those diversity and inclusion trainings in the schools. Um, we're going to partner with the police department eventually to get something going on, whether that's, I hate to say community dialogue because I feel like that's bullshit. Um, the NAACP here has been doing community dialogue years, and but um, when we held our march, the chief of police was actually super helpful. So we don't want to burn that bridge necessarily. But I mean, we have lots of plans and none in March. We've had food drives, we had coat drives. We've partnered with pride organizations to raise money. Um, we've done a lot of stuff, just not quite got to the meat and potatoes because even city council meetings, you can't even go into the courthouse because everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people in the courthouse got COVID. It's a small town and it's just circulating. So we're trying our best. We're keeping in constant contact with the community. That's for sure. But when it comes to some of the initiatives we planned, it's kind of been postponed until outside open backs up.
And I know, like dealing with everything going on in 2020, it's super draining. Mental health
Yeah.
is also a main topic to focus on in 2020 because social injustices. You got a
Mm-hmm.
whole pandemic, there's layoffs. There's so much stuff going on in the world. Like, how are you maintaining mental health and just maintaining just clarity in the mind through all this?
Been, been trying to keep myself busy, which I don't think is necessarily the best method,
Right.
but podcasting, working with you all to get more ideas to grow BKC, um, collaborating with my people at Ashland for Change. You know, we're still trying to get a podcast off the ground. It's just this the sickness. The sickness has been it's been running amok. So we're trying to get that podcast running off the ground. Um, I've been spending a lot of time with my younger cousin. He's 1 year old, babysitting, working, podcasting, reading. Just try to keep myself busy because if I sit here and think about
Yeah.
everything that's going on, I know myself. I'm going to shut off. I'm going to shut down. I'm going to isolate. And right now, the main method of dealing is just keeping my mind occupied.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I just saw someone say like something like life is basically about suffering and just seeing how you can survive through it all. And it's really an important thing to think about. Just like life's gonna throw you many things. I'm saying you're gonna have to either
Mm-hmm.
survive it or fall to it. And pushing through is definitely tough. It's definitely tough. And I've been honestly just from the outside looking in, I can't be prouder. You know what I'm saying? Because like the things you've been able to do during this year has been phenomenal. I want to get into your podcast with your cousin. What a crime to be alive. First off, the title is
Mm-hmm.
incredible. It's an incredible title. What a crime to be alive. What got you to take that approach, like to talk about like past crime and like historical, these super like, and you guys do like a super like investigative journalist kind of kind of thing with it? What influenced you? What inspires you to take that approach?
Well, number one, Carly, the co-host and co-creator, she just had a baby and got married, and she kind of fell into the postpartum funk, the postpartum depression. Felt like she didn't have much outside of being a wife and a mother, and didn't have anything for herself, not a hobby. She's obsessed with true crime. She'll watch the documentaries, so she'll listen to the podcast 24/7. Me, on the other hand, um, I guess since I'm older, she's 23 and I'm 31, I kind of grew up on like the datelines and the 48 hours. So it wasn't so much the documentaries and the podcasts, it was just those Friday nights, 1 to 2 hour series. And I always thought that was cool. I grew up watching those with my mom on Friday nights. And then as I got older and I don't want to go out to the clubs or the bars, I'd stay in and look forward to it and watch the Dateline. So she came to me. She's like, let's just do it. Let's just start the podcast. You've been wanting to do a podcast. She tells me I'm obsessed with podcasts. So we made a plan and we sat down and just plugged the microphone in and did the episode 0. And that was basically the trial run to see if we could even work the mic, to see if I knew how to edit, to see if I could get it to post. And we noticed people like instantly receptive and looking for it and wanting more, because we did that episode 0 and we still hadn't planned out episode 1. And everybody's like, what's next? What's next? When's it coming? When's it coming? So we started researching. We started doing episodes every Thursday. And now we're at the point where we have a content calendar. We know who we're going to cover the next week. We know who we're going to cover the next few weeks throughout January. And it's very interesting. And the thing about it is, I kind of intertwine it with Ashland for Change. It has nothing to do with Ashland for Change, but Ashland for Change sparked my mission is that we need to bring light to some of these crimes, some of these hate crimes, your Kendrick Johnsons, your Tamla Horsfords, because they keep labeling these things as accidental, and it's not accidental. It's people of color getting murdered and then it getting covered up because they live in small white communities. Like who? Like me. So that could be me. Breonna Taylor could have been me. I live in Lexington. She lived in Louisville. Sandra Bland, yeah, we're gonna do her too. And Breonna even went to UK at one time. So that could have easily been me. I'm not trying to make this about me, but it hits home. And when something like that happens in your home state and the person even went to your alma mater, it's like, yo, we need to bring light to this stuff. So while we cover a mix of everything, I make it a point to at least one episode a month. We're going to cover one of these hate crimes. Whether they label it a hate crime or not, that's what we're going to do. And then the other thing is, we're cousins. We're really close friends. The way we communicate, we just try to make each other laugh. And no, there's nothing funny about people getting murdered, raped, robbed, but our banter brings that comedic element. So while you're like down in the dumps, like, dang, this is sad, a joke might be cracked. And we're not making light of the situation, but it's that reprieve, like, okay, let's bring the mood back up. And then we'll go down again and bring the mood back up. So we try to provide that balance and an element that you don't typically see in true crime.
So let's talk about the structure of it since we're here. Like, talk about the research. Like, what can a new listener expect from What a Crime to Be Alive?
So what we do is, first of all, we give credit to everybody and everything we pull our information come from. Every source is linked in the episode description, and when we're taking notes, we try to cite right then and there. If we're going to be reading it out loud, we want to include the publication's name or the police department's name or whatever. So what we do is we typically spend about a week researching. Most of it is electronic. We've done 2 local cases recently, and we were able to grab resources from other people. We were able to grab resources from the library, but we spend a week compiling our notes of research, and then we compose a narrative. And most of it is read, but a lot of it is conversational too. So what we do is we give you a little background on the victims. If it's one of the cases where the suspect has already been arrested or the suspect is known, we'll give you background on the suspect. We'll go through the incident, whether it was one murder or rape or a serial killer who's done it all over the place. We'll go through that, and then we'll kind of give our take on it. And then at the very end, we'll have a local crime of the week. And that's usually where the comedic element comes in for sure, because I don't know how much you know about Kentucky, but my home in particular, about 10 years ago, there was a duct tape bandit.
Excuse me?
Who was trying to rob a liquor store, a duct tape that was trying to rob a liquor store by concealing his identity by wrapping his head in duct tape. So we always try to find that silly crime to end on like a high note.
Hold on.
All this crazy.
Wait. He tied his own face in duct tape?
Yeah, he like basically left his eyes out and his mouth out and tried to rob a liquor store, and his name was the Duct Tape Bandit.
Did he do it more than once?
I'm gonna have to look it up, and we'll probably talk about it sometime soon. But I know it was at least one liquor store that's like right down the street from where I am right now.
What kind of? Oh, that's the South, so that means there's probably some good meth involved. There was some meth involved.
Yeah. Ashland isn't. I wouldn't say Ashland's necessarily Southern, but it's
like the Midwest South. It's that
some
Midwest
of it's
South.
rural.
Yeah, that Midwest South vibe.
Uh-huh.
So earlier you mentioned how your cousin said you listen to your podcast head. You mentioned to me before, I think earlier this week actually, if not yesterday, you said that you've been listening to more podcasts and music as of late. So I'm curious, what podcasts in rotation for you right now? How many podcasts are you digesting?
Obviously, JBP, Joe Budden Pod. The Read, I listen to The Read a lot. The Read is actually the first podcast I listened to and made me want to get into podcasting. I listen to Cocktails, Dirty Discussions. I dabble in Horrible Decisions. Horrible Decisions and Cocktails, Dirty Discussions are they're similar. I kind of lean more. It's a little known, but they're growing. There's you and Matt. I watch y'all on YouTube. True North Views and Good in the Hood. I watch y'all on YouTube. I'll get into the Drink Champs every now and then.
Yeah, Drink Champs is good for every now and then.
I can't think.
Drink Champs is good for every now and then, hour, 2 hour.
Nori be getting ripped.
Watching that evolution of going from sober to high.
Like I don't. Yeah, and that's when it's like I gotta pause it. Maybe I'll come back to it later.
Oh man, that's amazing. Because I always want to ask you, because like with What a Crime to Be Alive, as amazing as it is, our conversations that we've had, I know there's so much on the culture in particular that I would love to hear Audra talk about more. So like it's like you mentioned the Ashland For Change podcast coming. Can you see yourself doing a cultural podcast in the future?
I think that's the ultimate goal. Like I said, I had a few failed endeavors, and number one, I think the reason why it failed is because me and the person, we had this plan, we were getting it together, he had to move, and it was a couple of years ago. I definitely didn't have any idea how to do the remote recording. And another reason I think it failed is because I was trying to mirror the Read almost exactly. But yeah, that was the ultimate goal. We wanted to talk about cultural things. We wanted to talk about music. We wanted to talk about the Black community in society. We wanted to talk about things that affected our community specifically. And the reason why I think I backed away from that a little bit is because I didn't want to do it by myself. And I don't want to present myself as like an expert. So I was trying to position myself right now as more of a podcaster and a creative, and then branch out. So I don't want to seem like I'm a music expert. I don't want to seem like I'm a cultural expert. I want to seem more of like a commentator. So I think if I kind of build my presence as a podcaster, and then branch out to that, people will be like, oh, okay, she ain't trying to present herself as the female Joe Budden or the next to Read. She's doing her own thing, just commentating. And I do have a lot of opinions about the culture, and I think some of them are good, and I think some of them will make people like scratch their heads like, what'd she say? So right now, I'm collaborating with you. There's some people that we've met on Clubhouse that I think I'll definitely collaborate with in the future. And that's
Absolutely.
another part. Like I said, establish myself as a podcaster, establish myself as a collaborator, and then branch out. So it'll come.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mentioning Clubhouse, this has been like honestly, I never thought I would see myself in a world where I'm interacting still as much as I am with people outside of my circle. Like I remember, like back when we were kids and doing like Black Planet or any kind of chat room, like talking to people we never seen. To be in the situation now with Clubhouse is interesting. Like man,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like it's like I'm a kid again in a sense, but in a very
Mm-hmm.
professional setting at times. I
Yeah.
want to hear. I want to hear your reaction to your first month, I believe now, of Clubhouse. Because
Mm-hmm.
Clubhouse is like a hot topic, I guess.
Yeah. So speaking of like our childhood, um, the internet stuff was easy. Chat rooms was easy to get sucked into. I'm gonna speak
Yeah.
for myself specifically. I had overprotective parents, so when my friends would be able to go out and do something, I always didn't get to do that. So for a while there, I was sucked into the internet and just like it wasn't healthy. And but this was like junior high, beginning of high school. It wasn't healthy, so I backed away from all that. And now as an adult, where I feel like I have a better grasp of things, where I feel like I have a better judge of character, I kind of re-immerse myself in it. And what I've noticed is these people on the outside are more helpful and supportive than some of the people on the inside.
Yes.
Um, Me coming from a
Yes.
small town, and once again, I'm not knocking my small town. Um, a lot of people don't have the same outlook on life as I do. They don't have the same outlook on creating your own platform as I do. So, talking to these people on Clubhouse, it's like, okay, we are a little bit more like minded. Some of y'all know a lot more than I do. So, I can learn from you all. You can learn from me. We can collaborate. We can trade resources. We can link up. We can build. And I like it. And I don't want to get too ahead of the conversation, but I've already noticed that I've had to pull back.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I think when you give well, it's still kind of exclusive because of the iPhone thing and the invite only. But when you give certain people a platform and a space to talk, kind of goes to their head. And it's
Just a
like,
little
oh,
bit.
so you're just pitching yourself at all times. You're not here to collaborate. You're not here to, you don't even have to collaborate on Clubhouse because there's rooms where you're just shooting the shit. And that's fun too, every
Yeah.
now and then. But some people, it's just like, oh, you like to hear your own voice. Oh, you capping. Because I've
Yeah.
even seen people I know in real life get in these rooms on these stages, and it's like, oh no, this is not you. This is not you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a balancing act.
Yeah. I remember
What do
my
you
first.
think?
My
How do you feel
first.
about it? I think we might have some similar.
Yeah, my first 2 weeks, I was in love with the app. I was like, "Oh, this is great." But then after a while, I started realizing, people are just starting to say like cliche ass like things to come off as gems, just to talk. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is too much. Or it'll be like rooms with like 100 people on stage. It's at that point, it's not
Mm-hmm.
really, it's not really effective to me. Like what I love about it is when I'm able to go to a room with 20 people on stage, maybe, you know what I'm saying, people are actual talking, and everyone gets a chance to like
Mm-hmm.
give their 2 cents in a certain extent. Well, I'm not trying to just be nosy. At a certain point, it becomes I feel nosy. Like I'm just listening on a
Right.
conversation right now, and that's just the only thing I don't like
I was
about it. And of
talking
course,
to.
but
I was just say I was talking to my friend Chris. I added him to the BKC club, and we were just in our own, little chat, and we were both saying that even the people are starting to speak the same. They're using the same tone, the same
yes,
inflection, taking the
yes,
same pauses and I was like, wow, this is groupthink on a million trillion.
yeah,
So I try to check myself, like don't feel like you got to do something a certain way just because these people are portraying it as that's the way it should be done. Nah,
yeah,
So sometimes you
and
do got to check yourself if you don't have like a strong sense of self.
it's definitely that. it's definitely some of them rooms that feel like the cool table. I'm like, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going back to high school. I'm not doing this. Like,
Right. Right.
I'm okay on certain
Right.
rooms, but is what I love about it is the potential, especially with us now having the BKC
Mm-hmm.
club in there. I think the homies Ashante Miller and Gifted, they have the jumping off the stoop room and the
Mm-hmm.
club, and these kind of things are good things for networking. And I kind of want to get your take on hear more of your take on like BKC club and what we have going forward with that.
So we created the club. We established the rules yesterday. We're bringing people in slowly but surely. We're planning, the recurring rooms, stuff like that. But I think what will be beneficial for us and that what sets us apart is we are from every avenue of creation. We have artists like music artists, we have producers, graphic designers, podcasters. Um, like we're opening it up. I'm sure we'll get some poets, some models. Matthew even dabbles in photography, photographers, and everybody's from all over. We already have a strong
Absolutely.
presence on Facebook in Canada, um, all over the states. Not so much the West Coast. That's something I think we should try to build.
Yeah.
We have Whitney over in the UK, so it's a group of like-minded individuals from all over doing all types of different things with the sole purpose to, I think, to help one another. You know,
Absolutely.
we're all about building and we're all about collaboration and bouncing ideas off of one another, offering constructive criticism and
Absolutely.
collaborating. There's been a lot of crossover already. So I think our clubhouse will be it won't be the cool kids table. It won't be the popular kids. It won't be these debate rooms every night. We're cracking up, but it's not going to be just one of those. Is Kevin Hart funny?
Yeah, it won't be that.
We might
Yeah,
do that
yeah,
every
yeah.
now and then,
Yeah, me and Vic
um,
might do one of those. I ain't gonna
just to
lie. Me
shoot
and
the
Vic,
shit. But
me and Vic might have a couple debates on there
yeah,
because it's off
and see
natural.
and that's the thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that it's natural. It's not
yeah,
let's make this club title to get noticed and get people to come in and let's go viral. No, that's not it. That's not
absolutely,
our vision. And I don't see
absolutely.
any of the admins going in that direction. And I think we're trying, like I said, we're trying to be selective about who we bring in, not because we want it to be exclusive, but we want the products, the services, the creation to be at the forefront, not us specifically, not like let's get famous. We want the art to be, the focus.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a great word to use there, famous, right? Because when I look at my podcast and my goal with my podcast, I don't think fame is my goal. I was kind of curious with you, like, because we talk about fame a lot as far as just celebrities in general.
Hmm.
With the idea of fame, does that ever enter your mind with your podcast?
No, monetization does, but not
Exactly.
fame. And I think you can be a personality without necessarily being famous. I don't want to be famous. I like
Absolutely.
privacy. I don't want,
Likewise.
I don't like
Likewise.
even right now. I'm going back and forth between making my Instagram public. Right now it's private. I have so many pictures on there of my family. I have so many pictures of kids, and I'm not trying to get too deep, but like you don't know who's out there and who's going to be looking
Real.
at these pictures of these kids. I'm all about my little cousins. I don't want, I don't want my anybody to know like who my mom like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yeah.
because people are crazy, and then
Yeah.
once you get somewhat of a following, people can, become obsessed, or even people that might not like me in my personal life, like the Ashland For Change stuff. I've already been targeted by people. I don't want that to affect anybody but me. So that's why I don't want the fame. I don't want that attention. I don't want to bring it on other people in my life. I just want a little bit of money and I
That's
want to
it.
provide something that people like. that people
Absolutely.
enjoy, you know?
Absolutely. That's what I think it is about BKC that is special. 'Cause I don't think just from knowing the key components in there, from me, you, Matt, Vic, Rashawn, Whitney, like everyone, Chris, everyone that we have in there, we're all doing different things, and I don't see any of us looking for fame. We're just looking to build a community and build our brand. Now, I think building our brand is just building a business, and fame isn't
Right.
necessary for a business to grow, and that's a great way to put it that you did. And I want to get your take because we're talking about fame on like celebrities. We mentioned Clubhouse. We mentioned Kevin Hart for a second there. We seen how like celebrities put themselves on these pedestals, and then we allow it in a sense. We've seen it with politics. Now we've seen it now with something like Clubhouse. I want to get your take on the Kevin Hart Clubhouse situation before we get any deeper. Kevin Hart went on Clubhouse to defend his special and defend his remarks about his daughter doing whole behavior, whatever she did. And yeah, I kind of want your take on the outlash that he caught.
Okay, so I did see most of the special, and the controversial comment or the controversial bit. That's one part that I did see, and I laughed.
Yeah.
I laughed. I'm a woman. I'm a woman who wants other women to be on top. I want equal pay. I want, some gender roles to be kaput, But at the same time, I realize that man is a comedian and an entertainer. And there's been tons of other comedians who have said worse stuff. But I also on the same side of the token is I can see how it can be perceived as being harmful because there is a over sexualization of Black girls, particularly younger Black girls. So when he uses language like "ho," I can see how it is harmful. But I laughed. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
I also understand it's comedy. So for me, I'm kind of neutral. But when it comes to Kevin Hart in particular, and I don't know if you want to go there, dude doesn't take accountability for anything.
He doesn't.
Like everything, if
He
if you
doesn't.
say if you say one thing about him that he disagrees with, or maybe he has a different opinion, it's instant being defensive. And I understand that's his life's work, and it's
Right.
something to be defensive about. And he could just be a sensitive person, and there's nothing wrong with that. But like almost everything that is leaked from his personal life or leaked from his comedy, it's like, well, I said it, and I'm not going to apologize. And it's your fault for interpreting that way. And I'm a comedian, and I'm a millionaire, and da 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 da. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
bro. Like,
Yeah.
and he always flips it into the white man does it. We ain't talking about the white man. Let's focus on our community right now. Quit
Absolutely.
trying to deflect. That's my main issue.
Absolutely. I feel like the natural comparison that comes to mind immediately when Kevin Hart is brought up happens to be Dave Chappelle because they're about the same age range and similar success. But when Dave Chappelle says something controversial, he kind of owns it. He says it's
Yeah.
going to offend some people. It's going to offend you, but I'm gonna say it because I'm real. While Kevin Hart, I feel like he doesn't try to offend, and whenever he does offend someone, he plays the victim role, and that makes it very it's kind of annoying actually. It's actually kind of annoying. Like I remember when the Oscar thing happened with him, and
Uh-huh.
old tweet was brought back from like 2008 when he said if his son was gay, he disowned his son or something to that extent. And he said I apologize for that 10 years ago. Like, nigga, that's not what's happening right now. Like, just say, you know what I'm saying, hey,
Right.
I was wrong for that. I was wrong for that, and move on or whatever. Like, Kevin Hart wants to be looked at holier than thou, and it's very interesting because most celebrities have this. We've seen like someone you hate, someone that not hate, but someone you dislike a lot, someone who I'm a huge fan of. Kanye West is a perfect example of
Oh yeah, I don't hate
of a
him.
Kevin Hart. Like, someone who just thinks they are, you know, saying, on the pedestal and deserve to be looked at upon that way. And they're gonna remind you constantly.
Yeah. So with Kevin, um, with Kevin, and the Dave. Let's go back to the Kevin and Dave Chappelle. Like you said, Dave owns it, but also Dave is adamant about privacy, and he lets us know almost every time he goes public with something that he hates the fame. He hates it. You know,
Yeah.
Kevin on the end, I think they have different trajectories. You know, Kevin
Yeah.
wants to be that household name. Kevin
Yeah.
wants to be the entertainer of the year in every category, whether it's acting, comedy, you know, not even entertainer of the year, businessman of the year. Not Dave. And
Not at all.
where that's where, you know, the difference is to me. And but I feel like you can't have it both ways. I wish you could have it both ways, but when you're in the public eye and you're wanting more, um, you got to be receptive to the criticism, or at least be aware of what's coming to you. I thought it was dumb that somebody went through and dug through. I don't like that, digging through someone's past for tweets. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I do think the statement was wrong. You know, I don't, you know, I'm a big
Yeah.
ally to the gay community. So I didn't like that he said that. But going back 10 years just so he won't be able to host the Oscars,
Yeah. That was
that's
wild.
crazy stuff, you
That was
know.
wild.
That's crazy. I do think he should be held accountable for stuff that he does and says, and that he should be receptive to it and realize that, you know, it's critique. It's not just tearing a black man down. But you know, that just comes with it. That comes with fame. With Kanye, I do feel like Kanye at one point deserved to be on a pedestal,
Yeah.
because what he did, at least for me, like I said, I'm 31, what he's done for music, and what he continues to do is stuff that I don't think we've seen. I don't think you and I have seen. I think he's been very unique. And I've said it before. I don't know if it's been on the podcast or what, but he's artistic genius. You know, he's brilliant. I've always said he's, even after the Taylor Swift stuff, I remember defending him like he's a genius. I don't care. I didn't like that he got up on stage drunk and did that, but you know, he's a genius. He can do what he wants. But now his genius is like hurting the people that supported him the most. And that's what I don't like. Um, and I don't hate the dude. I feel like he's very tragedy, and you know, mental health is real, and he has his illnesses, but he almost has this, well, not almost, he does have this larger than life ego and persona. And now it seems like the art isn't at the forefront. It's mostly like me. I'm married to a Kardashian. I Kardashian, that sounded weird. I design clothes and I'm the best. And everyone he looks up to is like an old white man.
Oh, white man.
I don't know. It just seems really weird. It just seems really weird.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think he's responsible with what he does and says. I don't think he thinks about who's listening all the time.
Absolutely. He's definitely one of the, like a poor kid who got into Willy Wonka chocolate factory and wanted to be Willy Wonka still after seeing all the bullshit. Like, it's like, how can you work behind the scenes, like, to be somebody who's been behind the scenes in the industry that long and just still idolize some of those old white guys? It's kind of heartbreaking. I can't lie. Like, to still idolize
It's
like
just
a,
weird, you
like,
know? It's
why
just
do you
weird. Like
idolize
you don't have anybody
Walt
you look up
Disney?
to that looks like you.
Like, why would you idolize Walt Disney? Like, you just,
Walt
yeah.
Disney and Steve Jobs, you know, innovators, ultimate
Yeah,
creators, but like
like he could,
you don't idolize anybody who looks like you at all.
he
Like
could at
you
least
don't want to idolize who looks
he
like
could
you.
he could at least say George Carver Washington one time. George Washington Carver one time. Like, George Washington Carver, just one time, please. Just give me one
Okay.
black inventor. But yeah,
Yeah.
moving on from Kanye and Kanye's idiocracy. I definitely want to get your brief comments on, you know what I'm saying, what's happening on January 21st. You know, January 21st gonna be a big day. First day of a new regime.
Yeah.
um,
Uh-huh.
talk about this semi. I'm not gonna say victory, but like, at least it's a victory because he's gone. Just talk about your
Right.
reaction when we finally heard. I think it was yesterday. It was finally announced that he conceded. So, like, how does
Mm-hmm.
it feel to know that at least a big chunk of bullshit is out of our life? Right? Like, at least just that guy being in charge of anything that we care about.
So like I said, I try to be optimistic, but I'm a realist. I think that the best thing is that Trump is gone, because that's an evil man.
Evil.
And I know when people hear me say this, they're gonna say, "Well, what about Biden? Biden crime bill?" Da, 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 da. You know how many black senators also signed that crime bill? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for Biden. I'm not trying to. He wasn't my candidate of choice. I didn't vote for him in the primaries.
Yeah.
I, you know,
Okay. I mean, I don't know why we can't get. I don't know why we won't. Bernie's right there, guys. Just push the button.
well, America's not ready for that type of socialism, but
Yeah. Too
I do.
progressive.
I'm aware of what Biden and Kamala have been a part of,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't think either one of them are like inherently evil. And I think Trump's an evil man,
Yeah. Like
who's
for
very
me,
self-serving.
when it comes to Kamala, and even in some regards, like in the history, we talk about Bill Clinton in retrospect. Like some of the things that these people have done that are deemed evil, I more so credit because the political system is so evil. That I'm actually saying this person is evil, and Bill Clinton and Kamala Harris wanted to put millions of black people in jail. I'm more so like honest, as evil as they are, really. They probably are. Like Bill Clinton's probably a pretty much an asshole, right? But but like at the same time, I don't think he literally thought there one day, yeah, all the blacks go to jail. I feel like it was in the Congress at hand or whatever laws were there were pressured on them, and they just had to do it. And that's because the system is so
Yeah.
just so focused on oppressing us.
Yeah. Well, how I try to look at it as is they didn't create the system, but they
Exactly.
aided in
They ate,
upholding the
yeah,
system. Um, but the thing about Kamala is, and you have your hoteps, um, who hate the representation idea. But for me, what
yeah,
I think about is whenever we started Ashland for Change, I had conversations with my grandmother, and another member had conversations with her grandmother. We're both biracial, and these were our black grandmothers. My grandmother was telling me about the amusement park 20 minutes away. Back in her day, there was only one day a year that they were allowed to go. Only one day a year they were allowed to go to the amusement park. So all the black people in the tri-state area would go. They had like one day a month to use the swimming pool, because after they used it, they would drain it.
wow,
Um, there was like one
wow,
day a week they could go to the movies. Maybe one day a month they could go to the skating rink. Um, so for me, that representation sits in. Oh! I left that apart. So my homegirl Chantel, she was talking to her grandmother while we were playing the march, and her grandmother was like, "I just don't understand why y'all are doing this. If because she's an older woman, you got to remember how she grew up. She grew up in
mm-hmm,
segregation.
mm-hmm,
If you just leave them alone, if you just stay in your place, everything will be fine."
yeah,
And then she said she was actually in the grocery store one day with her grandmother, and they saw this older white man, and they're like, "Oh, it's so good to see you. Haven't seen you in so long." And her grandmother used to work for his family, and she helped raise that guy. You know what I'm saying? So it hit close to home for us to know that our relatives supported us, but didn't quite understand why we were doing it. So now that this woman, Kamala, I know she's only, half black, but when they see someone who kind of looks like them, they see that she finally made it. To them, you don't know how many years they have left. Our grandmother's in her 80s. You don't know how many years she has left. But for her to see that, it came full circle for her. I know that means a lot to her. She never thought she would see this in her lifetime. Whether
absolutely,
Kamala locked up, you know, millions of black men or not, she didn't think she would see somebody in the vice presidency that looked like her.
absolutely,
So I think that representation factor is important. Um, it doesn't make up for everything, but like I said, I'm trying to look at the bright side. These are baby
absolutely, absolutely.
steps. The change that me and you want ain't it's not going to happen in our lifetime,
Like
but we can work towards it.
I say all the time in regards to Obama. Like Obama was not the greatest president in the world, but at the same time, what Obama represented for him to be a black man, 8 years in that office with no scandals. Of course, he couldn't get everything done that he promised, but the little that he did get done, like I don't think they wanted him to get that done. Like, so the
Right.
fact that he get, like, it just speaks volumes to me. I think that makes him, for me, like the number 2 or 3 president for like impact ever, if not number 1. Like, it's him, JFK, FDR,
Yeah.
maybe Lincoln. Like, like it's like, yeah.
It's like what Pac said, Obama, Kamala, me, Juice, we might not be the ones to change the world, but we might spark the mind that ends up changing the world. So that's why I think these little victories are important. And I think we'll be able to hold Joe and Kamala more accountable than Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, Trump wasn't trying to work with nobody.
Exactly. Like,
They might listen a little bit
Biden knows
more.
why he got Biden knows why he got elected. Biden knows he's not getting elected if black people didn't vote.
He's already making questionable choices, and we're already at his throat. So, that they see it. And like I said, it won't be perfect. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's a small step.
And quickly, you mentioned a great Tupac quote there. Like, Tupac also, like, going back to your grandmother and her grandmother, not everything they'll see a female black vice president. Like, Tupac was 24 when he died. He made a song saying he never see a black president. So, like, that just, I'm saying that I never thought when I was like in high school that when I voted for Obama the first time, I didn't think he had a real chance of winning. John McCain was a war vet, like it was no chance he was going to win that in my mind.
That's the thing. You were in high school, and I was in my first year of college, and I was in my sociology class, and my professor was black. And we were talking about, sociology, of course, but we were also talking about the election because it went into the lesson. And she went around the room and asked, do you think we're going to have a black president? And I said, no. I said, no, I don't. I said, I know who I'm voting for, but no, I don't think anybody else is going to vote for him. And then we saw it. It's like, oh. Yeah.
My grandmother had a picture of that man above her mantelpiece to the day she was gone. Like very Barack Obama next to her late husband. Like, just that was the pictures.
Mine does too.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
on the mantle.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that was as a big moment, like, regardless. And I definitely want to hear your thoughts, because we mentioned them briefly. What are your thoughts on the Trump trend coming back, and another celebrity becoming president in the future? That celebrity being Kanye West.
I mean, Kanye. Kanye. I wish but listen, Kanye already. I feel like Kanye already changed the world with his art. I do. Like, I already think he's changed the world with his art. I think the way, he changed the music industry, but I also think he changed the world. He made vulnerability popular. He's brought mental health back to the forefront. So I think he doesn't need to lead us as a nation, but I still think he can lead us culturally. Right now, I just feel like he has a lot that he needs to deal with. And maybe he doesn't need to deal with it in the public eye, but I mean, that's Kanye. He's going to do what he wants to do.
What does it say to you about America?
And obviously, I also...
What does it say to you about America that celebrity can get you that much power, possibly? That's even the idea.
I hate it. I feel like America, we've always been told that, we're the what am I thinking of right now? The American dream. Everybody wants to come here to live the American dream.
White picket fence.
Everything's possible here. All that. And I think some of us kind of let that go to our heads, and we just think, we're number one, we're superior, we know everything. And we put these celebrities on these pedestals, and we think, we look at their Instagram, and they got the money, they got the cars, they got the clothes, everything about their life seems perfect. Why wouldn't they be the perfect leader? And it's like, no, we're not at our worst moment on a public platform, so they aren't either. So we're falling. I feel like some of us are falling for the facade, and these people with money, they can get their message out there. I think some of the best minds don't have the resources to get their ideas out there, to get their to display the leadership qualities that they do have, and we just go towards what we see every day. I'm a big LeBron James fan, and I admire his effort to get people to vote, but like he doesn't always speak for me. Even we agree on so much, he doesn't
It's real.
always speak for me. You know, even if I do agree with him 9 times out of 10,
Absolutely.
I don't think he should speak for me. So I don't know why Americans are so comfortable with letting people speak for them just because they have money.
Again, taking it back to Clubhouse a little bit, and like this kind of echoes your point, because we're in these rooms where like even like a Joe Budden, Jermaine Dupri, whoever else is like in these rooms talking. I think it kind of even more so validates what you just said. These are just people, like these are just people who have opinions, who have thoughts, and who say shit. Nothing about that means you should be authority, a voice of a people.
Right.
Like just because you have wealth or because you have some notoriety does not make your opinion valid, and that's important to say.
Right. Yeah, and but I mean, I do see that there are celebrities who might be better suited than a Kanye.
Yeah,
I
Killer
can't really
Mike,
name them off the top of my
Killer
head,
Mike.
but like, yeah, like I could see him leading Georgia, leading Atlanta. I don't know if he would lead the whole nation, but Killer Mike
Right.
is a good
Yeah,
one.
I could see Killer Mike being a mayor somewhere.
That's a good example. Yeah, I can't think of many right now on
Yeah,
the
not too
spot,
many.
but
There's not too many that I
and a
would be
lot of
like, you
these
know what?
celebrities,
You're president. I can't. Ain't too many of those.
yeah, a lot of these celebrities can still lead us, but they don't
Yeah.
necessarily have to lead us politically. Like, you know, uh, the NBA, for example, how they've handled the pandemic, how they've handled social justice, they definitely deserve their applause. You know, a lot of people say it's just because of money, you know, they're only letting them do this because of money. But I mean, the bubble thing, obviously you can't implement that everywhere, but somebody can learn from it. You know, that's an idea that we can learn from and maybe apply in smaller communities or, you know, whatever. That doesn't mean that LeBron needs to be president. And I'm not saying that anybody said that LeBron needs to be president, but the way
It's
the
coming
NBA
soon.
and him are leading, you know,
Someone's
they,
gonna say
they
it.
can
Someone's gonna
still
say it.
lead us
Yeah.
somehow.
Someone's gonna say it soon.
Yeah,
Like
but
it's gonna be brought up.
mm-mm.
But like staying kind of in pop culture, I gotta know before I get you out of here, what is Audra listening to? Because one thing about Audra is she has some interesting taste in music.
I don't even think it's that interesting.
I mean, I just hate
I
one artist that you like. I only hate one artist you like.
hate. It's a hate.
I hate that one artist. Yes,
Who?
we talked about it before the show. Sorry,
Mariah?
cannot stand Mariah Carey.
Hold on. Why do you hate? Hate is a strong word.
There's not one Mariah Carey song that I listen to willingly,
But you
including
also
the
listen.
Christmas
Yeah,
joint.
you're right. We ain't. We might not. We might have to have a whole different episode on this. I'm not even okay. Number one, Mariah Carey of all time. You know, I have an all time. It's Mariah, it's Pharrell, it's Pac, and that three. That's like my trinity. And it's not
Two of
because I
those
think
are
they're the best
incredible.
artists ever.
Two of those are very incredible.
It's not because I think they're the best artists ever. It's because I enjoy them the most. See, I don't try to dub somebody the best just because I like them. Anyway, right
No
now,
problems. No problems.
uh, right
I
now I
gotta
got the
ask you.
Juicy J
Go
in
ahead.
rotation.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Now, but after we do this, I
You
want to
gonna
ask you
ask me what?
about the Ashanti and Keisha Cole battle. After this, I'm gonna ask you about
Okay.
that.
So I'm looking at my phone. Like I said, I've been on podcast heavy. A little bit of the St. John, uh, Juicy J. Let's see. Uh, I do got a couple tracks off Burden of Proof. What else? A couple tracks off the 2 Chainz. So help me God. Um, let's see. I have a couple tracks off the new Megan Thee Stallion, but you know, It's alright.
You know, I didn't hear that. You know, I've never heard that.
I know. Like I said, we're gonna have a whole nother episode about these female artists.
I have a
Just
new
stop.
playlist out. I have a new playlist out for all my favorite female rappers. It's a dope playlist. I'm gonna put it in the description. It's an amazing playlist.
Lucky Day.
Lucky Day is fire.
Okay. Yeah, I said Jill Scott. So some old stuff from Jill Scott, some old stuff from Mariah. I found this bomb playlist on YouTube. I've been listening to a lot of Sir. You know, it's not necessarily anything new, but Sir stays in rotation. There's a group out of Kentucky called Down to Mars. They're pretty dope. They just released a single called Kombucha. But yeah, you know, most of my stuff is older. Most of my stuff is like Sade, Jill Scott, Mariah.
I've been listening to Sade all weekend.
Yeah. So I like a lot of older stuff still.
What is your thoughts on current R&B and the sound of it?
Okay, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna sound like a hater. There definitely is a lot of R&B out there that doesn't get the shine that it deserves. So that's why I might be missing some of it, and I don't take the time to dig for it. But I feel like a lot of the R&B artists can't really sing.
Oh no, majority of the ones in the spotlight, like all the ones in the spotlight for the most part sound the same because that's all engineering work. Like Summer Walker, I love her music. That's all engineering work. Like it's 100% engineered. Like,
but like your Lucky Days, your Divisions, your Snow Allegras, I fuck with them heavy. I forgot to mention Snow. I listen to Snow all the time. She just puts me in my feelings, so I gotta take a break.
Giveon is my favorite R&B album of the year. Giveon's album.
I like him too.
It's pretty amazing album. So like staying on R&B, like there's a new verses coming soon. Shanti versus Keisha Cole. I got killed in our group chat by Vic because I just don't think that battle is. It's cool. It's a cool battle, but I don't think I think at a certain point or at the beginning, it's gonna be a bunch of songs that are just like meh. They have some big songs, but it's a bunch of songs. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be like meh. I don't care about these songs.
Man.
No, you don't agree?
I can't stand y'all do that man shit. I can't stand it. No, it actually cracks me up. I think it'll be well. I'm a woman. Number one, I'm a woman. I don't know if them songs are gonna hit you the same way they hit me.
Man, so I love I love the Keisha Cole love joint. I love I Should Have Cheated. I love a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, it gets kind of shaky.
I think. Well, and Vic did bring this up. I can't remember who he brought it up to, if it was in the chat, but that Last Night with Diddy, bam, that hit so hard.
That's a joint. That's a
so
win.
So hard.
That's a win.
And then Ashanti, she has some good ones too, but I feel like most of her, I don't want to sleep on her, but a lot of her hits are, she's on a hook, she's a feature. But she did write the J-Lo stuff that were major hits, so she has that in her bag.
That's cheap.
And then she has. No, it's not.
You can't. You can't play a song.
And she sang it. Listen, here's the thing.
As long as she sang it.
Her vocals are on those songs.
Okay, but just like for me, like when Neo battled John T. Austin, it was cool to play the songs that he wrote because dude was a writer. But like if you Keisha Cole ain't got writing.
Those were some of my favorite battles.
Yeah, same here.
She does supposedly. I don't know about them.
I think Keisha Cole should have battled K. Michelle.
Oh, see, that's wrong. That's wrong.
Nah, like I was last night. Okay, not K. Michelle. No, K. Michelle can't handle Keisha.
K. Michelle, no.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Keisha. I'm sorry, Keisha. I'm sorry. That's disrespectful. I can't name a K. Michelle song. I ain't gonna do Keisha Cole like that. Keisha Cole should have battled Tiana Taylor. No, you think Tiana Taylor ain't got it? You don't think so?
No, I think Tiana should. I don't know if she should have a versus yet. And if she does it, I don't think it should be a Keisha. I don't think it should be a Keisha.
Tiana Taylor retired. What's your thoughts on that? I know we was laughing at it in the post.
Yeah, every time I post something, anything to do with the female, y'all just ridicule me.
No, Tiana Taylor retiring is kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
Oh, it is. It is. Well, I mean, that's what I expect from Tiana, from the personality that she lets us see every day. Yeah, I mean, and she's also and this isn't a bad thing, but she's always shown us her emotion, and she has been, fucked over a couple times when it comes to Kanye, when it comes to Def Jam.
Yeah,
Like her releases have been botched, her music's been put
yeah.
on hold. Um,
She didn't hear
I
her
don't
album
think
till
she's
it dropped.
retiring though.
She didn't hear her album
Yeah,
till it dropped. That was crazy. Kanye is the wildest nigga in the world. What?
I think she'll be back. I think she'll be back.
I think she'll be back, but I think she wants out that contract wherever she's in. I think she wants like give me to Rick Ross, give me to someone else, like give me away from this
Somebody.
crazy guy. This crazy guy is ruining my sound.
But no, like back to the verses thing. I think like the Jonta Austin and the Dream and Sean Garrett. Those were some of my favorite
Those
battles
are
because I'm into. I'm not an expert, but I'm into like songwriters and producers, like
yeah,
who was behind the who was behind the
absolutely.
scenes doing the stuff.
Those
Um,
are better. Those are better to
so
me because you get to hear different artists. Like when Hit Boy versus Boy Wonder happened, I
mhm.
got to hear Hit Boy play Beyonce, hear Drake. It gets different sounds. Well, when it's just like rapper versus rapper, singer versus singer, it's the same voice. That's
And
a
it's also like a reminder sometimes, like, oh, they did write that, and then you're
yeah,
jamming and
yeah,
you're lost in the moment, and you go back to the time. So I think it'll be a decent battle.
yeah.
And I can't. Okay, so if Keisha, you said Keisha against Tiana or K Michelle. So who would be the better opponent for Ashanti then?
Sierra. Nah,
It's not even a nah. I just didn't think of it. That
Sierra
wouldn't.
and Ashanti the same person. They have the same
I'm not
career.
doing this with you. I'm not
They're the
doing
same
this with
career.
you.
It's the same career. Same career. Only difference is Sierra found Russell Wilson eventually. Same career though.
Same career.
I mean,
Nah,
minus the Ja Rule hooks, minus the
no.
solo career. Like the Ja Rule hooks give Ashanti, I guess, an advantage. But I'm gonna feel bad for Keisha Cole when she's just playing her music and then J Lo comes on. That's unfair as hell.
I think it'll be more balanced than you think it's going to be.
It probably
Because I
will
feel
be. It probably will be because I thought Monica and Brandy was gonna be a blowout. So I was entirely wrong.
in the battle between Vic and Skeet, when you said you didn't know what the Bay was going to bring, and then I feel like both of us were on there the majority of the time, and that was a good ass battle. That was a good ass
I'm
battle,
still
and
mad
there
at
was some
Vic.
stuff played that I didn't even realize was coming out of
No,
Oakland.
no, Vic dropped
Why?
Vic. I ain't gonna tell Vic yet. Vic dropped the ball. I forgot to mention this to him. He dropped the ball. I don't know what Vic was playing some of them rounds. Like, what is this? What are you doing?
He was showing the diversity of the
He
music scene
had
in
he
Detroit.
had the Temptations. He ain't playing the Temptations not at all. I don't think.
I don't think so either.
You know what I'm saying he could have played My Girl and just been over with. He would drop the mic.
Um, I feel like his mission was different. I feel like his mission
Yeah,
was to show the diversity
yeah.
and that you'd be like, oh, didn't know that came out of Detroit.
But
Um,
shout out to
but
Skeet though.
like
Cause
that one,
Skeet,
that first second,
I
go
told Skeet,
ahead.
I told Skeet to play the I Don't Fuck With You by Big Sean and E40. But I guess E40 is not technically from Oakland, so he was like, I can't do it. I said, oh, all right,
Oakland,
okay. Morals. I respect the
yeah,
moral
he
code. You
held strong
say
to the Oakland only.
he held
Hmm.
the moral code down, no too short.
He brought out the Pointer Sisters. He brought out In Vogue. That's what I
Brought
was
up,
like.
yeah. I was like, oh shit. I forgot Keisha Cole was from Oakland. I'm like, all right. I forgot he had Kalani.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. Skeet did
Yep.
his research. Yeah, he came through. That was hard. That was hard. So if you guys follow BKC, we will be having like versus battles, like in with playlists or like on live in the future. Just check us out on Facebook, man. And before I get you out of here, Audra, I want you to go ahead and plug everything you got going on. It's too many things for me to remember off the top of my head. I can't lie to you.
Okay, so the number one thing right now is What a Crime to Be Alive. It's What a Crime Pod on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're on Apple, Spotify, Google. We're on Anchor. If you go to Anchor, that'll give you the rest of the DSPs, I think Overcast, Breaker, Pocket Cast, all of those. We try to keep it between about 40 minutes to an hour, so it's not an all day listen. We try to keep it informative. We try to stand up for those whose voices get muted a lot, and we try to make you laugh. So check us out. We got an episode coming up this week, and then I think we'll take maybe a Christmas break, and we'll be right back. There's also Ashland for Change, and that's Ashland for Change. I'm gonna tell him to put it in the description box because I'm not spelling for all that, but it's Ashland for Change on Ashland for Change on Instagram, and then Ashland for Change on Twitter. It is basically a community organization. We are filing the paperwork now to get official nonprofit status, but what we want to do is provide a platform for marginalized voices in Appalachia, particularly the Black community. But we rock with our Hispanics, our Asians, LGBTQIA. It's a very rural area, and there's not a lot of diversity, but there's people here getting in the positions to do the work. And we're just here for basically to raise awareness, to fight any injustice, and mostly just to educate the community and provide those resources that people need in order to be allies. And that's it for now. I might have some more things in the works, but I'll keep y'all updated.
Absolutely. And once again, thank you for plugging me with the homie Cass Wonder for that episode 45. Dope interview, dope conversation. And check out homie's album, Parables. Very, very dope project. Please follow the podcast, Good in the Hood Pod on Instagram, Good in All Hoods on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at JuiceJVP with a bunch of wild opinions. And on Instagram at Juice in the Hood.
I forgot. Pinky taught me on Twitter and Instagram. And speaking of Kaz, Kentucky,
UK,
all day,
UK.
all day.
Do not
yes, there's Black people here.
Never mention the word Louisville to our podcast. It gets ugly. It gets ugly fast.
You can talk about Louisville, the city, but University of Louisville, the athletic department.
You know what my beef with Louisville is? I have a huge beef with Louisville. Why is there S in the word?
Come on, man. Stuff is pronounced different everywhere.
that really bothers me. I know for Chicago,
silent.
The Illinois S is silent, but the Illinois S is at the end of the word. The Illinois West at the end of the word. Like Louis, it should be Louisville. It's Louisville.
No, it's Louisville.
And then y'all put an A in there. Where did A come from?
Louisville.
You just put an A in there.
We in Kentucky.
Louisville.
Kentucky, that's how we say stuff.
Louava.
Yeah. Or if you super white, it's Louisville.
Oh man, it sounds like Minnesota.
Louisville, Kentucky.
I'm watching a lot of Fargo. That sounds like Minnesota. But thank you, Audra. It's been a pleasure as always talking to you. We're going to talk again probably the next hour or so. So probably in the chat. So I appreciate you being on here. A huge part of BKC. And once again, please follow BKC. That's Blank Canvas Creatives on Instagram at BKC Network, on Twitter at BKC Network. Just type in Blank Canvas Creators on YouTube. You can see us do BKC Roundtable Talks. I've done multiple of those with Audra. And a host of others from the crew, Chris, Matt, Vic. Shout out to the whole gang, Skeet, Papa C, dope bunch of people we got over there. And the future's bright for us, man. I'm loving what we got cooking.
Yep. Rest in peace, Tierra.
Rest in peace, Tierra, always and forever. On that note, we out.